Deep within Nigeria's soil lies black gold promising prosperity. Nigeria, Africa's largest oil producer, holds 37 billion barrels of oil, yet poverty and corruption persist. Who truly benefits from this wealth? The answer lies in the shadows, hidden from the international spotlight. Powerful forces control Nigeria's oil wealth, manipulating it for their gain. These hidden powers operate with impunity, leaving behind environmental devastation and social unrest. Our journey will expose the exploitation. We will delve into the world of multinational corporations, giants like Shell and ExxonMobil who control Nigeria's oil fields. Their influence extends into the corridors of power. We will shine a light on the corrupt practices of Nigeria's political elite who have enriched themselves at the expense of their people. Their greed knows no bounds. Their insatiable appetite for wealth fueled by a system designed to reward the few while neglecting the many. Theirs is a story of betrayal, a tragic tale of leaders who have forsaken their duty to serve the people they swore to protect. But this is not just a story of corporate greed and political corruption. It is also a story of global power dynamics at play. International actors, driven by their own strategic interests, have long viewed Nigeria's oil as a prize to be fought over and controlled. From the United States to China, the thirst for energy security has fueled a geopolitical struggle for dominance in the region, with Nigeria caught in the crosshairs. The answer lies in the shadows, hidden from the international spotlight. Our journey into the heart of Nigeria's oil and gas industry begins in the Niger Delta, a vast and fertile region crisscrossed by rivers and creeks. This is the epicenter of Nigeria's oil production, a land blessed with natural resources but cursed by exploitation and conflict. Beneath the lush vegetation lie Nigeria's prolific oil fields, including Bonny Light, Kwa Ibo, and Forcados. These names resonate in the global energy market, symbols of Nigeria's vast oil wealth. The Niger Delta is a region of stark contrast. It possesses the potential for immense prosperity, a treasure trove of natural resources that could uplift millions from poverty. On the other hand, it is a region plagued by poverty, environmental degradation, and social unrest. The very source of its wealth has become a source of conflict, pitting local communities against powerful oil corporations and the Nigerian government. For decades, the people of the Niger Delta have witnessed the detrimental effects of oil exploration and production on their environment and livelihoods. Oil spills, gas flaring, and deforestation have ravaged the delicate ecosystem, polluting waterways, destroying farmlands, and displacing communities. The once pristine waters, teeming with fish and aquatic life, are now tainted with oil, threatening the livelihoods of countless fishermen and their families. The discovery of oil in the Niger Delta in the 1950s, rather than ushering in an era of prosperity, ignited a struggle for control over the region's resources. Local communities, long marginalized and deprived of basic necessities, rose up in protest, demanding a greater share of the oil wealth and an end to the environmental degradation. Their grievances, however, were met with brutal repression, fueling a cycle of violence and instability that continues to this day. No company has played a more dominant role in Nigeria's oil industry than Royal Dutch Shell. Since the 1930s, Shell has been a ubiquitous presence in Nigeria. Its influence permeates the highest echelons of power. Shell's early success was built on favorable agreements with the colonial government. After independence, Shell continued to exert its influence. However, Shell's legacy is marred by allegations of environmental negligence and human rights abuses. The company has faced numerous lawsuits and accusations of environmental damage. The most infamous incident was in 1995 with the execution of 9 Ogoni activists. The Ogoni 9 were vocal critics of Shell's environmental practices. Their execution cast a long shadow over Shell's operations in Nigeria. Section 3. ExxonMobil and Chevron, Deep Sea Drilling, Shallow Promises. ExxonMobil and Chevron focus on Nigeria's offshore oil reserves, requiring advanced technology and massive investments. Despite huge profits, benefits for ordinary Nigerians are limited, with most revenue going to multinational corporations. Environmental risks, like the Deepwater Horizon disaster, highlight the dangers of deepwater drilling. Nigeria's aging infrastructure and lack of oversight raise concerns about potential disasters. Section 4. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, a labyrinth of power. At the heart of Nigeria's oil and gas industry lies the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, or NNPC, a state-owned behemoth responsible for managing the country's oil resources. Created in 1977, the NNPC was tasked with overseeing all aspects of the oil and gas sector, from exploration and production to refining and marketing. In theory, the NNPC was intended to ensure that Nigeria's oil wealth benefited its citizens. However, in practice, the corporation has been plagued by allegations of corruption, mismanagement, and lack of transparency. Critics argue that the NNPC has become a law unto itself, operating with little accountability and serving as a conduit for siphoning off oil revenues. Over the years, the NNPC has been implicated in numerous scandals involving billions of dollars in missing or mismanaged funds. One of the most egregious examples is the alleged disappearance of $20 billion in oil revenue between 2012 and 2013, which sparked a national outcry and led to calls for greater transparency and accountability. The NNPC's complex structure, with its numerous subsidiaries and opaque accounting practices, has made it difficult to track the flow of funds and hold those responsible for wrongdoing accountable. This lack of transparency has fueled suspicion and distrust, further eroding public confidence in the corporation and the government's management of the oil and gas sector. Section 1. The illusion of partnership. The relationship between multinational oil corporations and Nigeria is often portrayed as a partnership. However, a closer examination reveals a far more complex and often exploitative dynamic at play. These corporations have brought investment but also exerted undue influence, prioritizing profits over Nigeria's well-being. The arrival of multinational oil companies set in motion economic and political changes that continue to shape Nigeria today. Shell, the oldest multinational oil company in Nigeria, has left a deep and controversial footprint. Decades of oil spills, gas flaring, and human rights abuses have devastated the Niger Delta. Shell's legacy is marked by environmental disasters and allegations of corruption. The execution of the Ogoni 9 in 1995 remains a dark stain on Shell's record. Shell's operations highlight the brutal reality of dissent in Nigeria's oil-rich region. ExxonMobil and Chevron, two other multinational oil giants operating in Nigeria, have also faced criticism for their environmental and social records in the country. While their operations have been concentrated primarily offshore, far from the public eye, they have not been immune to accusations of prioritizing profits over people and the environment. ExxonMobil's operations in Nigeria have been particularly controversial, with the company facing allegations of tax evasion, environmental negligence, and complicity in human rights abuses. In 2015, a massive oil spill from an ExxonMobil pipeline in Akwa Ibom State caused widespread environmental damage, affecting fishing communities and coastal ecosystems. The company was accused of downplaying the extent of the spill and failing to adequately compensate affected communities. Chevron has also been implicated in environmental disasters and human rights abuses in Nigeria. In 2012, a gas explosion on a Chevron-operated rig off the coast of Nigeria killed 2 workers and caused a massive fire that burned for weeks, releasing tons of pollutants into the atmosphere. The company was criticized for its safety record and its handling of the disaster. Both ExxonMobil and Chevron have defended their records in Nigeria, arguing that they operate to high environmental and safety standards and contribute significantly to the country's economy. However, critics maintain that these companies have not done enough to address the concerns of local communities, and that they continue to prioritize their own profits over the well-being of the Nigerian people. The discovery of oil in Nigeria, rather than ushering in prosperity, has tragically become a curse for many. The wealth generated by this black gold has fueled corruption, exacerbated inequality, and sparked conflict. The Niger Delta, the heartland of oil production, has witnessed decades of violence and instability. Oil spills, gas flaring, and deforestation have polluted waterways and destroyed farmlands. The story of Nigeria's oil is a tale of squandered opportunities and the enduring power of greed. At the helm of Nigeria's oil wealth stand its political elites, entrusted with the responsibility of managing this national treasure for the benefit of all citizens. However, instead of acting as stewards of this wealth, many have morphed into gatekeepers of greed, more interested in self-enrichment than in serving the needs of their people. Their actions have transformed Nigeria's oil blessing into a curse, perpetuating a cycle of corruption and underdevelopment that has trapped millions in poverty. These political elites, operating in a culture of impunity and a lack of transparency, have perfected the art of patronage and cronyism. They have transformed the oil sector into a private fiefdom, awarding lucrative contracts and concessions to friends, family members, and political allies, often with little regard for merit or due process. These deals, shrouded in secrecy and devoid of accountability, have drained billions of dollars from the public coffers, enriching a select few while leaving the majority languishing in poverty. The allure of oil wealth has proven too tempting for many Nigerian leaders who have succumbed to the temptation of using their positions of power for personal gain. They have amassed vast fortunes through bribes, kickbacks, and outright theft, stashing their ill-gotten gains in offshore accounts and luxury properties abroad. This blatant plunder of national resources has deprived Nigeria of the much-needed funds to invest in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and other essential services, hindering the country's development and perpetuating a cycle of poverty and inequality. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, intended to manage the country's oil wealth, has become a symbol of corruption and mismanagement. Instead of transparency, the NNPC is riddled with inefficiencies and cronyism, losing billions in oil revenue. Its complex structure makes financial transactions hard to audit, fostering corruption. Scandals involving missing funds and dubious schemes have drained billions. The infamous missing $20 billion scandal remains unresolved with no accountability. Nigeria's oil sector is plagued by corruption, with billions lost annually. This looting deprives citizens of basic services, perpetuating poverty. Contracts are awarded to cronies without transparency, funneling public funds into private pockets. Oil sales manipulation and lack of transparency create further opportunities for corruption. The proceeds are laundered through shell companies and offshore accounts, depriving Nigeria of development funds. This undermines governance, erodes public trust, and fuels inequality. The consequences of corruption in Nigeria's oil sector are far-reaching and devastating. The country, despite its vast oil wealth, remains mired in poverty, with millions of citizens lacking access to basic services such as healthcare, education, and clean water. The oil-producing Niger Delta region, ironically, is one of the most underdeveloped and environmentally degraded regions in the country, a stark reminder of the curse of oil. The culture of impunity surrounding oil corruption has eroded public trust in government and institutions. Citizens, witnessing the blatant looting of their national patrimony, have become disillusioned and cynical, fueling apathy and a sense of hopelessness. This lack of trust in government has undermined efforts to promote good governance and accountability, hindering the country's development. The fight against corruption in Nigeria's oil sector is not just about recovering stolen funds, it is about reclaiming the country's future. It is about ensuring that oil wealth is used to benefit all Nigerians, not just a select few. It is about breaking the cycle of poverty and underdevelopment that has plagued the country for decades. It is about building a more just, equitable, and prosperous Nigeria for generations to come. To truly grasp the complexities of Nigeria's oil and gas industry, one must look beyond its borders and recognize the country's position on the global energy chessboard. Nigeria's vast reserves, strategic location in West Africa, and role as a key OPEC member make it a coveted prize in the international arena, where powerful nations and multinational corporations engage in a high-stakes game for control and influence. For decades, Western powers, particularly the United States and European Union members, have held a dominant position in Nigeria's oil industry. Their companies, with their long-standing presence and established infrastructure, have played a significant role in shaping the sector's development. However, the geopolitical landscape is shifting, with new players, particularly China, emerging as major contenders in the quest for energy security. This new era of energy geopolitics presents both challenges and opportunities for Nigeria. On the one hand, the country finds itself at the center of a global tug-of-war, courted by powerful nations seeking to secure their energy supplies. This competition can lead to favorable deals and investments, but it also carries the risk of Nigeria becoming overly reliant on a single partner or being drawn into geopolitical rivalries. On the other hand, Nigeria has an opportunity to leverage its position as a major oil producer to advance its own national interests. By pursuing a strategic and pragmatic approach to its energy diplomacy, Nigeria can attract foreign investment, diversify its partnerships, and secure a more prominent role on the global stage. The United States and European Union members have long been the dominant players in Nigeria's oil and gas industry. Their energy companies, including giants like Shell, ExxonMobil, and Total Energies, have established deep roots in the country, shaping the sector's development and wielding considerable influence over its political economy. However, the nature of their engagement is evolving, driven by a confluence of factors, including shifting energy priorities, geopolitical considerations, and the growing influence of new players. The United States, once heavily reliant on Nigerian oil imports, has seen its dependence diminish in recent years due to the shale gas revolution and a pivot towards energy independence. While Nigeria remains an important trading partner, the U.S. is increasingly focused on securing its energy supplies from more stable and politically aligned regions, such as North America. European Union members, facing their own energy security concerns and seeking to reduce their reliance on Russian gas, continue to view Nigeria as a strategic partner. However, they are also increasingly focused on promoting renewable energy sources and reducing their carbon footprint, which could impact their long-term demand for Nigerian oil. This shifting landscape presents both challenges and opportunities for Nigeria. The declining dependence of Western powers on Nigerian oil could reduce the country's leverage in negotiations and impact investment flows. However, it also creates an opening for Nigeria to diversify its partnerships and explore new markets for its oil and gas. The Dragon's Dance, China's growing footprint in Africa. China has emerged as a major player in Nigeria's oil and gas industry, casting a long shadow over the energy landscape. China's insatiable appetite for resources has led to significant investments in Africa. This engagement focuses on infrastructure development in exchange for resources. Many African leaders welcome this approach to address infrastructure deficits. Nigeria, with its vast oil reserves, is central to China's African strategy. Chinese companies have invested billions in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. This influx of capital has boosted Nigeria's economy, but also raised concerns about transparency and debt sustainability. Western powers are wary of China's growing influence in Africa. The United States and its allies view China's engagement with apprehension and skepticism. A delicate balance, navigating the geopolitics of oil. Nigeria must balance its national interests with global powers, leveraging its oil production for investment and development. Ensuring oil wealth benefits citizens, not just officials or foreign companies, is crucial. Strengthening governance and transparency in the oil sector is essential. Investing in education, healthcare, and diversifying the economy are key steps. Nigeria must adopt a strategic approach, engaging globally while prioritizing national interests. Embracing transparency and sustainable development can transform Nigeria's economy. The human cost of black gold. While boardrooms echo with talk of profits and pipelines snake across the landscape, a starkly different reality unfolds in the Niger Delta. Amidst the creeks and mangroves lies a stark reminder of the human cost. Generations have witnessed oil spills, their lands and waterways now scarred and polluted. The air, heavy with gas flares, threatens respiratory health. Fishing, once a way of life, is now a struggle for survival. The waters, once teeming with life, are often slicked with oil. The fish depleted or contaminated. Farmers watch helplessly as their crops wither and die, poisoned by the very substance that promises prosperity. The Niger Delta, once vibrant, bears the brunt of Nigeria's oil wealth. Its people pay a heavy price for a bounty they seldom share. The impact extends beyond environmental devastation. The lack of development is a cruel irony, a testament to skewed priorities. Despite immense wealth, the region remains mired in poverty. Schools crumble, hospitals lack supplies, and roads remain impassable, trapping communities in deprivation. The youth, deprived of opportunities, face a bleak future, fueling resentment and unrest. Breaking the chains of exploitation. Nigeria's oil sector is a complex tapestry of hope and despair. Despite vast energy reserves, many face poverty and environmental degradation. The contrast between wealth and poverty calls for systemic change. Transparency, accountability, and good governance are crucial. International actors must demand ethical sourcing and transparency. Investing in renewables is essential for a fairer Nigeria. The fight for a brighter future continues.